Welcome back to Before You Go. We are a lifestyle portal for those seeking support in the areas of mental health and wellness. In today's series, we're going to talk about relaxation. This is actually part two of the relaxation series. So, for part two, we're going to give you 6 steps to create your relaxation plan. Before I get started, I want to show or display or discuss our medical advice disclaimer. We do not provide medical advice. Again, we do not provide medical advice. Everything you see or hear here is for informational and educational purposes only. All right, so let's get started. Remember, our goal is to help us break those pathologies that sometimes plague our communities, our families, and our inner selves. So, as we embark on this journey to discuss relaxation again for part two of this series, I hope it helps you navigate your path to emotional freedom. All right, so before we talked about the benefits of relaxation, and just in case you didn't see that, or if you want me to recap, some of the benefits were it helps decrease blood pressure, it helps relieve pain, it can improve your immune system, your cardiovascular system, and it can also improve your autonomic nervous system. And some of that information came from Harvard University. Again, we talked about those chronic issues like stress and things that prevent us or inhibit us from being relaxed. And again, if you haven't seen that first part, I would recommend that you go over there to get a little bit more background because, again, this one is just to help you with your relaxation plan. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about the steps to creating your relaxation plan. All right, so step number one is going to be to identify your goals. When you're coming up with a plan of any sort, a business plan, a life plan, you're always going to have to identify your outcomes or your goals, right? And so you're going to determine what you hope to achieve through your relaxation plan. And so that just means clarifying your goals, selecting your activities, just kind of writing down, jotting down what you hope to accomplish with this relaxation plan. Number two is you're going to experiment with different techniques. So, again, in part one, we talked about a bunch of techniques: meditation, yoga, mindfulness, de escalation techniques, deep breathing, so on and so forth. So, you're going to experiment with those different techniques to determine, what you want to put in your toolbox. Do you want to walk? You want to go on some mindful walks? You want to exercise? You want to journal? There's so many things that you can consider. All right, so after you do that, step three is to think about your duration and your consistency, right? Any plan that you have, you're going to have to figure out how long you want this plan to be, if it's something you're going to try to incorporate in your lifestyle. So that means forever, pretty much, right? Some people think about relaxation plans as something that is like for the weekends or on specific days. I personally like to do it almost every weekday after work. A little bit of time I dedicate to my relaxation plan, the things in my plan. I don't just save it for the weekend. I don't think that it's beneficial to have, stress all week and then have one day where you try to de escalate. But that's just me. So again, step three is your duration and your consistency. Again, picking, what days, how many hours, what you're going to do, being very, very specific. And obviously, when you do things over a long period of time, that's how you create your consistency. All right, number four, you're going to incorporate your relaxation activities into your daily or weekly schedule. And that's just like I just said, you have to determine if you want it to be something that you only do on the weekends, if you want it to be something that's incorporated in your lifestyle and your family's lifestyle, right? The most important thing about incorporating it into your schedule is that you have to make it a priority, right? And you have to allocate time for it. That's the only way that we create routines, right? For example, if part of your relaxation has to do with sleep, and you have a sleep hygiene routine that you do, 10 or 15 minutes before bed, then that's something that you're going to have to be dedicated to incorporate, in your routine. I know that that has been one of my goals in terms of the sleep routine, but I haven't been very good about doing it all the time. So I need to work on step 4 for that. All right, step 5, personalize your plan. So nobody's plan should look the same, right? Your activities, should resonate with you personally. You can certainly, share it with people so that they can get ideas and so that you can help them. But this is really something that is customizable for you only. So it is very unique and personal for you. Step 6, you're going to evaluate and adjust. So once you do all of those other things, once you've done it for a certain period of time, if you need to evaluate and adjust, please do so, right? It's probably not going to be perfect when you first create it. The most important thing, I think, is for you to pay attention to how you feel before and after, right? Collect those data points so that you can adjust accordingly. Notice any changes in your stress level, your mood, etc. And that should help you determine if there are any adjustments that need to be made. All right, so when we talk about the need for this, I want to quote a study. It's pretty recent, it was from 2021, the Art of Happiness program in Italy. They just did some research on basically measuring happiness, and they had a series of courses and things that they had people take, and watching videos and talking about neuroscience, psychology, just a ton of things, up to and including Western thoughts and philosophies and even Buddhism. So it was a very, very comprehensive, again, toolbox of things for the people in this study to use in order to at the end determine if they had a higher level of happiness. And so if you want to read more about that, it's called the Art of Happiness program in Italy, and the primary researcher is Nicola di Pisapia, and he's from the University of Trento in Italy. um, so I won't go into any more about that, but there are studies out there, and there is research out there that talks about having, sort of a plan for your your well-being. All right, so let's move on to the mental health connection. As we always do, we talk about how these things are linked to our mental health, right? And before I get into that, I always encourage people to seek professional help, right? If you have been having issues with not being able to relax, not being able to sleep, not being able to control anger, and things like that, you probably should seek some sort of support. That support can come in the form of a therapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, some sort of stress reduction program. There are groups and classes, just like the study I just mentioned. So there's one that I found that had over 460,000 members, a mindfulness group. I won't give you the name of it, but you can do your research online and find mindfulness groups. So if you're into that type of thing, go ahead and seek some professional support. Now, again, back to our mental health connection. There are a couple of studies out there that show that relaxation enhances cognitive functioning, right? And so some of the things that we mentioned in our first part, the deep breathing exercises, meditation, so on and so forth, those things have been proven to increase your cognitive function and your mental clarity. And that was a study by Ziden back in 2010. Another one of the mental health components or benefits of relaxation. This one is a more recent one from 2014, a study by Ong, and it talks about relaxation can contribute to better sleep quality, and obviously your sleep quality, is directly linked to your mental health. So if you want to check those two out, feel free. So that's going to pretty much wrap up our series on relaxation. So again, this part 1 and part 2. I do want to remind you that later in the year, we will be providing some tutorials by our industry experts. So if you are an industry expert and you would like to be a part of before you go and mix greens for the soul, feel free to drop us an email and we'll share some of the content and information, the topics, so on and so forth. But just a reminder that that's coming to you guys. All right, so as I said, that concludes today's video. This was a short one, but hopefully it helps you kind of wrap your mind around what you need to do to really, really incorporate relaxation into your lifestyle, into your daily routine. Um, as I always say with these videos, I hope you learned something that you didn't already know, or at least you're able to focus and you're one step further in your journey to emotional freedom. All right, until next time, thank you. I'll see you soon.